guest in the studio who is going to explore on something very interesting, something we neglect, something we don't take cognizance with. Stay back, you get to know. I'm glad you're still here with us. Before we went on the break, I told you that we have someone, a very young lady. You can imagine, a female for that matter. Someone that has the zeal, the passion for agriculture. She is a core member serving with Abuja. She is Miss Daniela. I am so beautiful. How are you?
I'm fine.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
All right, can we meet you?
My name is Daniela Ayang. I'm a young agricultural graduate from the University of Port Harcourt. I'm currently serving in Abuja in the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria.
How are you doing?
I'm very fine.
So tell me, when you were admitted into university and you were to study agriculture, how did you feel?
I won't lie, I was stigmatized at the beginning. In fact, I cried when I saw my admission slip, and then I started thinking about other alternatives of like writing JAM again and looking out for other programs to apply for. But you know, along the line, studying the course, I kind of fell in love with agriculture, and then I decided to make something impactful out of this program.
Wow, that is beautiful. You know, we're going to talk about compost manure. This is something that a lot of us, don't put in interest in it. And she was able to have a program. She had this group of community, Duse, where she did something beautiful. So, what is compost manure?
Okay, compost manure is made from the decomposition of plants and animals, which is usually being applied to the soil to increase productivity. In a layman's term, compost manure is the natural form of fertilizers. Now, compost manure, when we talk about compost manure, we have the plant manure, we also have the animal manure.
Okay.
As the name implies, animal manure has to do with animal raw materials like cow dung and poultry dung.
Okay.
And then plant manure has to do with plant raw materials like straws and vegetable leaves as well. Also, we also have plantain peels, we also have banana peels, we also have yam peels. So you could make manure out of those things. Now, when we also talk about compost manure, there are three processes of compost manure. We have the aerobic process, we have the anaerobic process, and then we also have the vermicomposting process. Now, in the aerobic process, we all know that when we talk about anything aerobic, it has to do with the presence of oxygen and also water. So it means making manure out in the presence of water and also oxygen. Then we talk about anaerobic process of composting. It means making manure out of little or no oxygen and also moisture. Then when we talk about vermicomposting has to do with the introduction of worms instead of bacteria. Okay. So in an open space, in the presence of oxygen, you use worms. So the worms are the ones that are actually doing the work of the composition for you. So that's just it about compost manure.
So why compost manure? Why did you pick so much interest in that?
You know, there's a whole lot of reasons why Nigeria cannot import, or when they say that we tried importing some of our agricultural products, and it was refused, it didn't meet up to standards, and it's because of these fertilizers that we used in the soil to grow these things. So compost manure is very environmentally friendly. So fertilizers has to do more with chemicals into this systems, and most times these chemicals takes a while to degrade, takes a while to break down. It never leaves the soil, it never leaves the plant, it's always there. But when we talk about compost manure, using manure, you're talking about using a more natural form of growing these plants. They always degrade, they always break down, and health-wise it is also very health beneficial. You're eating fresh and healthy food. So and people do love compost manure.
Right. So what are the composition? What do you put? Now are we going to talk about the plants or the animals now?
Let's focus on the plants.
All right. So what are the compositions to put together to make up that manure?
The composition.
Yeah.
I love the using kitchen waste when it comes to the compost manure, because it is very easy and it is very cheap, and it also has other advantages that we'll get to talk about in the course of the program.
Yes.
So when we talk about the compositions for kitchen waste, you need your container. We're using anaerobic process now for kitchen waste. You need your container, and then when you get your container or a rubber or any container that you could find that has a cover to it. So you also you look for your loamy soil, rich loamy soil, not just the normal red sand or any other kind of soil. You use the loamy soil that you could plant with. So you put in your loamy soil, and when you put in your loamy soil, you put in your brown matter. Now brown matter could be dry leaves, could be carton. You could also use newspaper, old newspaper. All you have to do is just dampen it a bit, and then you shred them inside. So if you have your dry leaves, then you put your dry leaf inside. Then once you're done with your brown matter, you also look for your peels. Those are the common kitchen waste that we usually have. Your yam peels, your banana peels, your plantain peels. You just put them inside. You could also add eggshell to introduce calcium into it. So all those kitchen waste that you could easily just throw away, dispose. So you put them inside, and then when you're done, you also introduce back another brown matter, your dry leaves on it, and then you put your soil. And when you're done putting your soil, you cover it. For most people, they usually because you have to introduce bacteria, a form of bacteria, to make the decomposition process a little bit faster. So once you're done introducing your soil, or once you're done introducing your green matter, you could also add your previous compost. If it's not your first time composting, you could add your previous compost into the compost pile that you've already organized. Or most people, they use spilled milk, or some introduce a little cow dung, just something to speed up the entire.
So guys, if it's the first timer,
yes, you could use your cow dung as well. Then you cover it up, and then you put it under. Just find a place and keep it. Make sure it's not where rain can soak it, or where it will attract rodents, or you don't want to hear stories that touch when you wake up in the morning. And once you're done, for me, most people, they abandon their compost for a total period of 22 days or 30 days. That's the length it takes to actually ferment, or for the entire pile to break down. But for me, I like to turn my compost once a week. I open it and then I stir it. It actually circulates the oxygen that is in the pile. So that's just it, once every week, until, in fact, as you're opening it, you're monitoring the decomposition level and the breakdown process of the pile.
So now this composition now, what if you have a very large farm? How do you manage this? What are some of the challenges that are involved around, practicing this compost, way of putting together, composing this manure?
Okay. What I talked about was kitchen waste, which
Okay.
is usually very effective
Okay.
for people that have, if you have a small farm or
Backyard farm.
farming and all of that. But composting can also be done in a very large scale.
Okay.
It can be done in a very. You use pits, you dig up a pit and then you put in your pile. I mean, I feel like composting would be way easier, if you have a large farm, because we're talking about the issue of food storage, and if you go to the market, you see all manner of plant waste in their bins. So if you have a large farm, you have to get an open space. Okay, and that is also some of the challenges, because you will require a little capital to start up to buy some of this equipment, because you're doing it now in a very large and broader scale. So some other challenges is that the pile might attract snakes, rodents, and other predators, rats to it. And then the other challenges is that composting. When it comes to composting, we come up with the pile using our intellectual knowledge. You just have to monitor and just weigh. Use your eye to. There's no specific measurement. I don't use specific measurements to it. So most times, the producer might not put enough raw materials. So most raw materials that might be lacking, making the manure deficient in some proteins or nutrients that can be valuable to the soil. But those are just the major challenges that we experience when it comes to compost.
We're not done talking. Stay right there. When we come back, you should tell us more about this. It is interesting, it's thrilling, it's enticing already. For us that want to go into farming, keep watching ARCN, and this is Improved Seed. Well done, Daniela. Stay right there, we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're still with ARCN Television in the capital city of Abuja, and we've been talking with a core member, a 7 core member, Daniela Ayang, who is serving with Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. She's an expert in what she does, and we're talking about compost manure. She elaborated it. She talked about the composition, the advantages attached to it, how backyard farmers and how commercial farmers can get involved in it. All you need is your waste bin, your kitchen, pills, stuff that you just want to dispose. You can just make use of it. And for the commercial farmers, you can just dig a dish in your farm and just have everything compost in it. She demonstrated it. In the course of the program, you will see where she actually demonstrated it, and you understand what we are talking about. Daniela, so tell us, in compost manure, does it apply? Can you apply it on all kinds of soil, or there are some particular soils that you should avoid? And for the crops and plants, can it also, be applicable?
Yes. We're talking about planting. When it comes to planting, we make use of the loamy soil. So when it has to do with compost manure, after your manure is ready, you could actually apply it you're applying it to your soil, to your plants. you could apply it before planting. That is, if the soil is not rich enough, or if you've used the soil in the previous season and then you want to replant something else, so you could apply the manure to increase the capacity, improve the topsoils and other nutrients that are available in the soil. And you don't just apply it anywhere. Of course,
Okay.
it's in your farm, so you apply it on a loamy soil.
Okay. So, is it applicable on all crops and all plants?
Yes, it's applicable on all crops, and as far as your target is fertility and productivity, you could use your compost manure on all soil types, all crops.
So how do you sprinkle it? You wrap? How do you apply it?
Okay, you spread it around your plants. If you're a backyard farming.
Okay.
Sorry, I keep going back to backyard farming.
Yeah, that's
I'm more passionate
about that.
Yes. So if you're a backyard farming farmer, so you just apply it around your plants.
Okay.
Around your plants. Then you mix it a little bit with the topsoil. You use the topsoil to cover the manure. You have to be very careful so you don't break the soil textures or compositions.
Okay.
So you just do it gently and then you mix it up. That's just it.
Okay, so like beside close centimeters, or how do you do it?
Just surround you apply it around the plant.
For instance,
if the plant is in the middle like this at the center, so you just spread it around and then you use the soil to cover it up.
Okay.
That's it.
And that's it. Wow. All right. You recently had your program at Muku at Duse with your community last. What motivated you to organize such a program?
Aside from being an agriculturist, I'm also an SDG2 advocate. We say zero hunger, no poverty, and climate action. So oftentimes I realized that after I graduated and I came to serve here, I've embarked on so many volunteering opportunities and experiences. And I realized that when we're talking about SDG2, emphasis are usually being made on rural farmers alone. With the current increase in population, there's an increase in demand for food, and there's excess pressure being put on farmers, to meet up the annual food demand. But whereas emphasis could also be put on community members, I feel like it's time in Nigeria where we should all produce our food, no matter how little it is. You don't have to do it on a large scale, but most especially in these rural farmers, in these rural communities rather, just to encourage them everybody should get involved, produce your own food. They even need it more. You save money. They're not just saving money, but also they'll be eating healthy food, and then they'll also be conserving the environment as well.
Oh. So after the program, were you able to monitor and observe what they've been taught, or what your effort, what you were able to demonstrate to them?
Yes. Before I even embarked on the program, I did what they call needs assessment.
Okay.
So I went around the community and then asked questions and told the community members my ideas, and this is what I want to do, just to make sure that I don't embark on a project that will not be accepted, or they will not be able to follow through to the end. So I did this assessment, and I collected some data for some households, which has also helped me a lot. Sometimes, like after the program, last week, so I think that was on Saturday or on Sunday, someone met me on the road and was like, hey, say that your ugu, that your ugu where you give me, that your okra, I don't plant them. And they were just trying to hold conversations and the excitement, and you just know that they actually did it. In fact, some came with another household member and was like, madam, no verse, so me, I've been go farm, I've been there, yes, say you do this, and they just wanted that seed to go back and plant. I've been able to monitor them. These questions, the fact that they stopped me and they're asking questions actually showed that they went back and they did this thing, and they followed through. So majority of them actually they've planted their seeds, and I'm still following through, helping out in little way I can. And I'm very excited because I feel like this is the first time that an agricultural intervention, strategy or project has actually been carried out, and then it's not being specific to only farmers. Everybody, children, everybody got involved, household members. If we can actually implement this throughout, imagine communities where you go, everybody have their ugu beside them, everybody have their okra growing, tomatoes, pepper. The food pressure on farmers would actually be reduced.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, that is that is beautiful. Now, as a female, as a young lady, what are your ambitions? What do you look forward to, in the world of agriculture?
I look forward to exploring, to solving some of the agricultural challenges. I wouldn't say I've figured it out. Yeah, if you had asked me 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have known that. I'll come up with an intervention idea. I want to implement or even carry out a community development project. But I do know that I'm very passionate about agriculture, and I'm very open to learning. One of my dreams is to actually ensure that hunger is being reduced. The issue of food security, the common man is able to access food once or 3 times, at least 3 times a day. So my aspirations is to keep exploring the path of agriculture, is to keep looking out for solutions. Those are my dreams, those are my goals.
For a young female who just gained admission and is asked to read agriculture, as she's weeping and crying, and also thinking of writing another jam, what would you tell her?
But I would say that you should, look beyond what the society is saying. Oftentimes, we fail to look at the course or the program itself because of what society, even our parents don't encourage us. Growing up, you're asking them what you want to study, and the first thing that comes out from their mouth is, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. I'm not saying it's bad, but if you grow up and then you say, I want to be a farmer, in fact, you start finding and praying for you. So as a young girl, there are so many opportunities. I tell them the IT students that I'm serving together with in the livestock department in Agricultural Research Council, there are so many opportunities. They are looking for voices. They are looking for young people to step up and create solutions. So you just won yourself a jackpot. You're in the right place. You're not being disadvantaged by studying agriculture. Agriculture is the perfect course for you to do, because currently we're talking about 200 million people in Nigeria, and then we are faced with hunger, we're faced with food insecurity, and this effect is caused by climate change. So the international organizations, they're looking for young people that can step up. We are the majority of the majority, so we're the minority of the minority rather.
Yeah.
So they're looking for people that can step up with solutions and highlight and tell us what is really happening in Nigeria. How can we do it better? So I feel like God has already destined you. If you're a young girl, you're just at the best place.
And they should not think about changing their car. What advice do you have for parents that are actually still struggling to accept this, even though they know that agriculture now is the mainstay of our economy in the country? But so parents still feel no, their kids should go for white collar jobs, and then for other females, rather for other male folks that are not encouraging women. I know we have cultures again that affect women from going into such practices. Do you have any words for them?
Well, I forgot to mention that why I also followed through agriculture and became this passionate about everything that has to do with agriculture was because of my parents, my dad. So after I got my admission, my dad actually, my mom worked with me, so she wanted me to be a doctor. I wanted to save lives. That was my overall ambition growing up. I always wanted to save lives, so it was my dad that actually told me, you want to save lives, look at it from this perspective. If you're actually providing solutions, you're actually saving people from hunger, you're actually saving people from poverty. So I think that for parents, you should actually explore the course agriculture, explore the opportunities. There's so many areas. I mean, you can be an agriculturist and you don't have to go to the farm. You could be among the policy makers, just implementing good policies that could help farmers. You could be an agricultural educationist. You could become a lecturer, and lecturing students. You could become an agricultural advocate, just talking about this stigmatization process. So there are so many beautiful sides to agriculture. So as a parent, I think the first thing is for you to look at that course, explore the different parts, explore the different areas, angles, and see how the vision of your child, can align with this program.
It's beautiful hearing a young lady like you talking about this. It's quite interesting. Do you have any advice for farmers, for anybody, for Nigerians?
Okay, for farmers, I would say that sustainable agriculture is here to stay.
Okay.
Let us start producing our own food, with the ability, giving ourselves the ability to do so tomorrow. So in your own large-scale farm, in your own mini farms, try to use farm techniques that can be very sustainable. Try to make use of natural resources like the compost manure. Try to eliminate fertilizers. I know most of these quick, easy ways, they are actually time efficient, and most farmers, they won't want to go through that hard labor process again. But let us just try to consider our environment, and let us also try to consider our tomorrow while we are farming.
Well, we heard it from her. Let's save our future. You must not be a man or a female. Agriculture has no gender. All we need to do is to sustain and supply food enough to advocate, to go away and to stop hunger. Zero hunger, right?
Yes.
That is Daniela. I am a core member serving with Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, and she is a passionate agriculturist. I am really motivated, and I hope when we invite you next time, you'll be here to talk more.
Yes, definitely. It's an honor. It's been an honor.
It's ours to have you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. That's how we wrap it on Improve Seeds on today's episode. Keep a date with us next time for another topic. Get compost manure with any waste bin around. Do not throw anything. It is very useful. Have your manure and try as much as possible to have a backyard farm to save yourself from going to the market and putting enough pressure on our farmers. I am Hilda Homsen. I'm saying, eat good food, take good care of yourself, and bye from all of us.